Hi there. Just double checking to see if I am live. If anyone's joining me and you can see me, go ahead and comment. And yep, shows that I am live. Hi everyone. My name is Dr. Joyce Faraj-Ardura, and I am a nutrition counseling coach. I'm also an assistant professor of nutrition and dietetics, and I've been teaching counseling for the past 4 or 5 years. So for today's live, I wanted to focus on a topic that you all chose in both the Instagram and also the Facebook community. So this is how to tackle clients when they are in pre-contemplation. And I'm going to start by saying that when someone is in pre-contemplation, it means that they're in a safe space. They're probably doing some behaviors that are serving a purpose in their life at that point in time. So when it comes to having a nutrition counseling or a coaching session with someone who is in the pre-contemplation stage, our goal is not going to be to go into education or go into planning. That's going to backfire. So today I'm going to go into some of the reasons why someone might be in pre-contemplation, what are some of the dynamics that might be happening on the inside, and also what are some of the strategies that you can use. Okay, so let's get started. I have my notes here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So if you remember the trans-theoretical change model or the stages of change, it dictates that individuals go through various stages. The very first stage is pre-contemplation. When someone is in pre-contemplation, it means that they're thinking, no, not me. I don't have a problem. I won't do it. I can't do it. So then we have to dig deeper to figure out what might be going on with that particular client. And the only way to come to a better understanding is to have a thorough exploration through our engagement with the client. So ask some of the questions that are going to help us understand what the relationship with behavior change is, what past struggles they might have had when it comes to behavior change, how they perceive their risk and susceptibility to potential negative consequences of their current behaviors. And we can do this in a compassionate manner so that we're not in any way judging or in any way making them feel inadequate, right? And this has a lot to do with not only how we say things, what we say, but also how we behave. So our verbal and nonverbal communication will be key here. Um, so when we have someone in pre-contemplation and we try to persuade them into change, or we go into planning, that's not going to be it. So there are usually three different dynamics at the root of pre-contemplation, potentially four. I call them the D's of pre-contemplation. So the first one is they don't know. So the initial exploration in our assessment with them is going to help us figure out where they're at, how much they actually know, and whether the person has any self-awareness of how their current behaviors and actions could potentially affect them in the long term and increase their risk or susceptibility for different chronic conditions. So pre-contemplators don't know how to change and don't know what their behavior and don't know that their behavior is actually harming them. So this ignorance is bliss could apply to some of these individuals. And again, it's likely because they have not experienced any negative consequences of their current behaviors, or if they have, they haven't connected the dots. They haven't attributed their negative consequences to the behavior. So that's where we can come in. The second D is for denial. So in these cases, they don't believe, they are in denial that there is a problem or an issue. They might be thinking, nope, not me. I don't have a problem. I don't have diabetes, so I don't need to be seeing a dietitian. I only have prediabetes, and maybe prediabetes is not a problem in their mind. So in these cases, whenever there is someone that has this mentality of denial, it means that they're definitely not ready for change and they don't think there's a problem. They don't perceive any risk or susceptibility for any chronic issue. They don't think that diabetes is a big deal. Maybe they can just take a medication and they can carry on with their current lifestyle, right? They don't perceive the severity of the condition. Okay, so number one and number two tend to go together. So they don't know or they might be in denial. ignorance and denial. Then we have the I can't. So when we have individuals who have this mentality of I can't do that. I'm not able to make that change. They might be coming to us with a lot of baggage. And what I'm referring to with this is that they might have a lot of past failures with behavior change. They might not have given behavior change a fair try in the past. Maybe they gave up quite soon. Maybe they didn't see the benefits they were expecting to see. They had unrealistic expectations in the past. So they might be coming to us with a lot of fear of failure, maybe because they failed at one thing in the past because they didn't give it enough of a chance. They think that they themselves are a failure. So they could be coming in with very low perceived self-efficacy, low self-confidence, definitely low motivation, but a lot of fear as well, fear of failure. So they might be coming to us demoralized. And this is the third D, demoralized, meaning that it's going to be up to us to use different strategies to really help them understand what barriers they didn't foresee, what barriers they experienced in the past, and how we're there to provide a solution-focused approach to help them overcome those barriers for the next time. So they might be unwilling or too discouraged to attempt change, and that's keeping them stuck in the pre-contemplation stage. It's not because they don't want to. They might have the desire, but they're feeling that they have way too many barriers and they don't have that self-efficacy to be able to, overcome those barriers. Let me see. They might think that change is too complicated or too difficult. And I mean, behavior change is not easy, but we have to let them know we're going to be there with them every single step of the way, so that this time it's going to be different because you're going to be there guiding them and coaching them and supporting them and helping them brainstorm and troubleshoot and overcome barriers. So part of the strategy here would be to figure out, at what point have they given up in the past? How do they define success or failure? Manage their expectations. And also build that therapeutic relationship so they know that you're someone they can count on when they're having difficulties, and they don't need to have earned your visits or visits with you. Actually, it's when they're struggling that they should be coming to see you the most, right? Let me see. And we have to help them look at their barriers in a positive and possibility-minded way so that they can learn from their past experiences. Again, solution-focused, learning from the past experiences rather than being overwhelmed with negative emotions when they think back about those failures. And then that's going to have them perceiving low self-efficacy, low self-confidence. And I keep on saying the word perceiving because a lot of this has to do with perception. If they believe they can do it, they're going to be more likely to do it. If they believe they can't do it, guess what? They're not going to do it. The last D is for defensive. And this D happens anytime that we tend to push our clients to move too quickly, faster than they want to move, or faster than they're able to move. So we have to meet our clients where they're at, and we have to basically figure out their pace in the behavior change process through our conversations with them, and just have that same pace with them. We can even be dragging along like behind a little bit so that they feel like they're the ones coming up with the ideas. But in reality, if we get ahead of them, that's going to lead to defensiveness. They're going to take a defensive stance, and this can come off as them being resistant to change. And I have a whole module on resistance. I did do a training a couple of weeks ago on resistance, and I'd be happy to share that with you if it's something you're interested in learning more about. So if this is the case with our clients, people are, when they're being pushed into something they're not ready to do, they're going to go on the defensive stance. And then this can mean that they can actually go inward. They can become more quiet. They can tune out. They can internalize. They could also turn outward and project by blaming others and saying, well, it's because of this person or because of this situation, I'm not able to do this. Or they can even, displace by substituting something that is safer to attack. So when you're seeing some of these behaviors, you have to reevaluate what conversation you're having and take a step back to figure out what the client wants, not only what they need, but also what they want and what they're willing to discuss at that point, so that you don't create a tug of war or a power imbalance with the client. We do not want to wrestle with our clients. The term now is not rolling with resistance, but it's actually dancing with discord. So we have to find ways to be able to interact with our clients and have the dialogues that are needed to help them move towards action. But this has to be built on a partnership with our clients. Sometimes we are not able to move forward with a particular goal until the client is on board. So the thing that we're going to have to do is figure out what is the client on board with. And I'm going to go into some strategies in a little bit. Okay, so we can only figure out where our clients are at with regards to their stage of change, obviously by having a conversation with them, but also figuring out what their attitudes towards change are, what their values are, because then we can figure out if there's a discrepancy between their actions and their values. And by pointing that out, we create a cognitive dissonance that is going to make them really uncomfortable. And that can be okay at times, so that can help them move towards action. We have to figure out their past history with behavior change. We also have to figure out their perceived risk and susceptibility of their current behaviors with any negative consequences in the future. We must do so in a compassionate and respectful manner. So watch for verbal cues when you're having a conversation with your clients. Anything that denotes that I can't, I'm not ready to, I'm not able to, there's no problem. And then try to dig deeper to figure out what's underneath the surface. Again, if we go into planning, that's not going to work. It's going to lead to client resistance. So we first need to engage, spend lots of time building rapport with our clients, creating a therapeutic relationship, which is going to be one of the strongest predicting factors as to whether the client will be willing to change. And also, we need to spend lots of time in that space, helping them feel comfortable, helping them reduce their fears and increase their perceived self-efficacy and self-confidence. So what's going to be our goal? Our goal is to build rapport and engage with our clients with empathy. We have to help them feel comfortable. We have to help them be able to move forward, but it might not be moving forward in whatever we have on our agenda. And that can be tricky sometimes. Let's say they're being sent to you because they have prediabetes, but they don't want to work on their diet right now. They feel like they have too much going on. Or are there any other things that they could be working on? And we have to assess their knowledge to figure out where there might be some gaps, but also what other things they could be working on that they might be receptive to. They might not even want to have a conversation with you. Maybe you've had a client who's come to you and they tell you, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why the doctor sent me here. I have no problem. So then you can start a conversation with them. So our goal is to build rapport, engage with them with empathy, help them feel more comfortable. And then we need to have unconditional acceptance for our clients. Because when we talk about having these conversations with our clients, we really have to have something present, and that is the spirit of motivational interviewing. And this basically translates into the attitude that we bring into our space with our clients. We have to bring our A game when it comes to our attitude and a spirit of motivational interviewing, because this, like the 4 different components, are going to dictate how well we build that therapeutic relationship when we're engaging with our clients. And the 4 aspects of the spirit of MI are going to be partnership, acceptance, compassion, and empathy. And we have to focus on all 4 of these. And if you're interested in learning more about each of these, I have a training on the spirit of MI. I have 4 different ones in the Facebook community. So the goal is not to provide education or to start planning. That's going to push them back. But the goal is to bring your A game, do your counseling, coaching, guidance, and motivational interviewing is actually amazing for individuals who are in this particular stage of change. Some of the strategies, and then I'm going to go into some of the tips. Some of the strategies would be increasing self-awareness, assessing their knowledge, personalizing their risk, increasing emotional acceptance, assessing their values and beliefs, cognitive restructuring as well, discussing the risk and benefits, creating a potential cognitive dissonance between what they're doing, what they value, and ultimately encouraging movement towards contemplation. And I will say one thing right now. Your client might be in different stages of change for different aspects of goal or action plans. So they might be ready to make a change in their physical activity, but they might not be ready to make a change in their diet. And that's something we have to be conscious of. So we just have to find where they're at with all the things that they need to do, because you and I know what our clients need to do. When we sit down with them, we do our assessments. We know all the different things that they need to do to get from where they're at to where they want to be health-wise. So if they're not ready to make a change in this particular aspect of it, what else are they willing to even discuss with you? Our goal is to keep the door open for having this discussion later at a later point. So, top tips. And I will say that all the strategies I just mentioned are strategies that I go over in depth in my Elevated Nutrition Counseling Blueprint, Your Ticket to Higher Client Retention. And my next cohort starts early May. But today, Monday, April 24th, is the last day to take advantage of the early bird special. And that's $50 off. And it's going to be 4 weeks of live coaching calls. So 1 coaching call a week. And you have unlimited access to all of the recorded modules. You have unlimited access to the workbook you're going to get for all the activities and all the handouts that I have with scripts and everything. That's for you to keep and to use anytime. You're also going to get, if you join in the early bird access period, you're also going to get 2 great bonuses. One is going to be a 1-to-1 coaching call with me, where we brainstorm, discuss, and come up with strategies for you to tackle your more challenging client cases. And the second bonus, if you join today, is that you can join this Wednesday's body image coaching call with Amanda Mittman. She is a body image expert and coach for RDs. So I'm going to drop the link below this in case you're interested. We already have 5 amazing dietitians who have joined, and I'm really excited for this next cohort. Okay, so what to do then? 5 tips for you on how to tackle your clients who are in pre-contemplation. The first one, check your attitude. That means that you have to bring your A game when it comes to the spirit of motivational interviewing. And this is what you're bringing into the room when you have the conversation, or into the space, if it's virtual, when you have the conversations with your clients. Acceptance of where they're at in this process is going to be key. Let them know that you accept them as they are, and whether they change or not is totally fine. You have to have them exercise their autonomy. Acceptance and compassion for them being in that space is going to be key. Again, consider that they might be afraid to let go of something because whatever they're doing right now is serving a purpose. So we're going to have to figure out if they are willing to make any changes or even consider that conversation with you at this point, or maybe later, and that's fine. Number 2, talk about the affirmation that they are in control of their lives, and it's entirely up to them whether they decide to change or not. So client autonomy is going to be key. Ultimately, they're the ones living their lives. They're the ones dealing with this day in, day out. But we are going to have to ask them some questions to get them thinking about this. Sometimes just planting the seed is going to be enough for them to start thinking about it. And hopefully they're going to be willing to want to discuss this particular behavior change in the future with you. So affirmations are going to be key. If you're not familiar with affirmations are like hugs with words. My mentor said this a while ago and it really stuck with me. These are going to be reflections or statements that you're going to say to your client that are going to help them increase their self-efficacy, their self-confidence, even their motivation. But you're going to be focusing on what they're currently thinking, doing, their intentions, their behaviors, and their actions. So this is a strength-based approach where you're going to have to be searching and hunting for some of those strengths and be able to reflect them back or express them back to your client so that they can feel more confident in what they're doing. Affirmations are key in this particular stage. Always have an affirmation ready for any client session. So affirm whether they want to talk about it is up to them. and whether they want to explore that particular behavior change, entirely up to them as well. They're the ones living with the consequences as well. This is not on you. This is on them. Number 3, acknowledge that they might not be ready. Maybe this is not something we're to talk about, and that's perfectly fine. Meet them where they're at. Don't get ahead of them so that you're not pushing them, right? Explore what they are willing to talk about. So you could say something like, perhaps X, Y, or Z is not something you're ready to talk about right now, but out of these other things that we talked about that I mentioned, are there any that you might be willing to discuss today? Is there anything else that you might find of value in us talking about today? So then let them decide what they're ready, willing, and able to talk about at that point. So they may be in contemplation or preparation in one area, but in pre-contemplation in another. So it's up to us to figure out what they actually want to talk about. Number 4, explore the positive aspects of change. Because again, they have to outweigh the pros and the cons. Right now, they're seeing way too many cons and not enough pros. Maybe they're not perceiving any of the benefits. So, hypothetically speaking, if you were to change X, Y, or Z, what might be some of the benefits of that in the next 3 or 6 months? What might be different in a couple of months? So this hypothetical can help them to get their wheels turning and thinking about the potential benefits they could be seeing or they would hope to be seeing in the future. And that's going to help them start giving the change a little bit more importance. The last one is watch for resistance or discord. Keep your detective ears and eyes open for any type of verbal expression or any type of body language that indicates that they're not really feeling comfortable with that conversation. So that in those cases, you don't want to argue with them. You don't want to have them go on the defensive. You have to let them know that you are working together with them in a partnership, and together you would like to help that person find ways to overcome whatever barriers they've experienced in the past, or brainstorm ways that this could become a reality for them. So let them know that you are on their side. It's not you against them, but it's you together against the problem. So our goal ultimately for someone in pre-contemplation for a particular change is going to leave that door open so that whenever they are ready to have that conversation, or they are ready to start taking action steps towards that change, that they're going to be able to feel comfortable coming to you to talk about that. So using lots of reflections that focus not only on content, emotion, but also meaning behind what the client is trying to say. That's going to help them create that connection with you. That's the foundations for the therapeutic relationship. Ask for permission. Every time you want to share some information, you're assessing their knowledge, personalizing risk, so they know that you're taking their voice into account. And this is the elicit provided elicit strategy from MI. Dancing with discord, you're not ruling with resistance, and you're definitely not wrestling with them, but you're just dancing with discord. You're trying to get a feel of where they're at and just have a good conversation with them, trying to uncover what's underneath their resistance. Using open-ended questions, but not too many. We want to get a good idea where they're at, but reflections are going to be even more important than open-ended questions. And that's what I have for you today. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to learn more about these strategies and how to really implement them with different case scenarios, with different examples, different scripts, go ahead and send me a message. I'd love to hop on a call, or we can chat via DM. Today is the last day to join the Elevated Nutrition Counseling Blueprint at the Early Bird Special. So you have until tonight to get $50 off, but also 2 extra bonuses, a one-to-one coaching call with me where we strategize and discuss and brainstorm and provide some mentoring and coaching on how to best approach some of these cases that you might be struggling with. But you also get to join this week's body image coaching call happening live on Wednesday at 4 p.m. So if you're interested, go ahead and drop a comment below, and I'm going to send you the link. Thank you all for coming or watching the replay. Bye.